So today what we are going to do is we are going to do external equity. What we talked about, how do we actually compare ourselves with the market? So we are looking at salary surveys. Then we will look at certain analytics in like comp ratios and certain terminologies where they are very, very important in fitment, like the red circle rule, the green circle rule. Then we will also look at something called the comp ratio. How do we calculate comp ratio? And more importantly, when you collect data, how do you analyze, and then how do you actually then arrive at percentiles, quartiles, deciles? Okay, so that's what we are going to do today, and it's going to be really a very interesting exercise because you have a lot of activity today. Okay, let me first of all ask you all guys, how many of you have actually seen a survey or used a survey, market survey? How many of you? Anyone? Okay, yeah, Ratna. Oh, wonderful. Anyone else? Ratna, can I see you? Ah, okay. Oh, Namrata also. All right.
Sorry.
Okay. So typically, when you look at a survey, what all does it have? Let's see. When you look at a salary survey, what does it have?
I used Mercer survey, Mercer for the last few years.
Okay.
And, I used for two different industries. One is for high-tech and the other one is EDS, Engineering and Designing Services.
Right, right.
When I actually, because we participated and then we got the access to the survey. When I got the market survey data for high-tech industry, okay, so I saw the information was given in various categories. Okay, maybe I'm not sure whether categories is correct or not, but various components were identified. Number of the companies participated in that particular survey, and number of observations made. Okay, and then the number of components included or analyzed in that particular survey. When I said components, it includes the annualized monthly salary, guaranteed bonus, unguaranteed bonus.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
Everything is put together, and retirals also. Retirals,
right.
And it's like called
so
three comp. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. So that means some of you are familiar with it. All right.
Right.
So as you can see, whenever, so let us actually understand why is it very, very important to actually do a salary survey and get to know what is market paying. So why are we interested in external equity? In the sense that why do we want to know? Why can't we pay what we want to pay? Any response? It'll be interesting. I know that I can't pay more. I have certain kind of a constraint. I have my own affordability. So why can't I pay? If I want to pay 100 rupees, I'll pay 100 rupees. Why should I know what's the market paying?
So there are two objectives which can be achieved. Once you know that what are the market pay, if you are underpaying someone, we can correct it so that the person remains with us, the skills remains with us. And if we are overpaying that person, we can also confidently tell the person, boss, we are already taking care of you.
Will you reduce it?
No, we won't reduce it, but he won't come.
But you said interesting, if I'm underpaying, then I will make the correction.
Yes,
no, but I know that my budget is, say, I want to be within a wage cost of 12%, 30%. That is, my employee cost to revenue. I mean, this is the money I want to spend. So why should I be interested in knowing whether I'm paying less or more?
I have to maintain the skills. What I'm paying is for my skill set. And if I cannot retain my skill set, there is no use of this wage budget. Believe me. This is the nature I can put it across.
Absolutely.
Hello, ma'am. To add on to what Snehalata said, we would definitely not want to lose the skill set that we have to the competition, and hence to maintain that parity, we would definitely want to know that.
No, but then I can't afford. Then what's the response? I can't afford. I don't want to pay. All right. Interesting.
So can I speak, Namla?
Yeah.
So naturally, definitely we'll be looking at the salary parity, internal check, everything will be do. But as you said, if it doesn't have budget, so we have to really check how well, we can retain the person or employee, like with the different benefits program. So that way also we can come into a consensus and pay the person or employee in a company.
Right. So my reason for asking is everybody says, yes, we need to know market, you need to know market, but I don't have the money to pay, so why should I know? But yet, as absolutely right, as I said right in the beginning, I don't know if you recall, external equity. Okay, right in the beginning, that there are three kinds of equity: internal, external, individual. And employees always compare themselves. And as an employer, okay, even if I'm not able to pay, but if I want to know where I stand, I want to compare, then I need another set of data, right? How tall I am, if my height is 5'5", I won't know. So unless and until I compare with another set of people, and then I would know whether I'm very tall or whether I'm very short. Okay. So therefore, it's very, very important for employer, because very often when you compare and say, hey, I'm paying actually more, I'm throwing money across the table for nothing. You may be actually paying more when it is really not necessary. Am I right?
Yeah.
So that is way you want to know that what is the market paying. Interesting. So I'm not giving a lot of theory. It is all there, but because this will lay the foundation for the analysis we will be doing. So when I'm comparing, the first and the foremost thing, what will I do? Obviously, I have to compare it with my industry, right? I can't go, if I'm working in a software development company, I can't go and compare with the shared service or an ITES. So typically what I need to do, similar industries. So that means what? Obviously similar industry. Oh, 1 second. So from where will I get data? Similar
Industry.
Because I want to compare with my peer group. Then say for example, I'm actually comparing a set of jobs for which I'm actually going to hire people locally. Okay, at a lower level 1, level 2. Typically, I hire them locally. Then if I'm going to look at the national data or global data, do you think that's going to be helpful to me in my comparison? Quick, guys, all of you are really, I can see that enthusiasm. Yeah. Do you think it will be, I'm hiring people locally, but then I'm looking at pan-India data or global data. Is that going to help me? Yes or no?
Yes. It will help us.
It will help me. I'm hiring people locally.
No, because
locally, yes, we have to see locally.
Certain local condition will make a difference.
Within the city.
So that's also important. So if you are hiring essentially at an entry level, at a locally, regionally, at a location specific, what will you look at data? Location. Right? Depending on from where you are hiring,
Nowadays, the company has become global actually. Now people being hired from any part of the world or country. They're sitting at home also working.
Yeah, in fact, I'm just going to, because of the COVID, we have, so a lot of challenge. In fact, today, now what are you doing for skill sets? You can work from home. So I can actually look at my talent across the globe, depending on whether this is going to be a virtual job, work from home. That is also, a huge consideration, right? If I'm actually wanting a person which is their hybrid model and I want him to come to office twice or thrice in a week, so then I will not hire somebody who's actually pan-India, and I'm located in Hyderabad, and I want this, it's an entry level one or level 1, level 2, and I want him to come to office twice or thrice in a week. So somebody relocating from where? From maybe a Delhi or from a high cost living place, and coming to Hyderabad. So I also need to look into that. So what kind of jobs? Are they going to be locational? Are they going to be virtual? What kind of a skill sets? So when I'm actually comparing and when I'm looking at market data, what is very, very important? All these things in terms of jobs, in terms of skill sets, in terms of geographies, and in terms of even levels. At what level and from where am I looking at people? Got it, guys? From where are you going to look at data? It's very, very important, because if you are not going to look at data from the right places, then probably, your data can have huge variance. 2, very important to look at what? Matching of your job descriptions.
Correct.
Because very often what we do, we say, hey, we have to get data. Okay, you are a senior manager HR. I'll also look at a title from another peer organization, senior manager HR. For all you know, the scale and size of that organization is 10 times more than your organization. And you're looking, when you look at data and say, hey, this guy is getting 3 times more salary than me. So what is important? Do not go by titles.
Yeah.
Or just those, or just designations. You have to go into job description and look at the job description. Let me tell you, just offhand, when we were doing some consulting assignment, project manager. This project manager for a 100 crore company was handling just 2 projects. Okay. Now he was looking at a compensation market data, and then he called up and said, ma'am, this company, X company, is paying 3 times more than me, what I'm getting. So, okay, all right. So did you look through his job description? Says, no, but I have seen the data in the compensation survey, and it says project manager, and it's getting 3 times more. I said, look at the data. What is the scale, scope, and how many projects is this guy? He's looking at 15 to 20 projects. So obviously, it doesn't match. You're only in your organization, you have been designated as project manager, but in essence, you may be just a project officer. Right? Are you getting the essence of it, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to lay emphasis on job description. So first and the foremost, whenever you're doing a survey, we emphasize on at least 85% of the job description should match with the benchmarked position which you are looking at. Okay, now having said that, typically, how do you start a survey? How do you start benchmarking your data? You actually look at a list of positions, at least, jobs which are stable, which can be compared. So these are called benchmarked positions. Why do I say benchmarked position? This word we typically use in a survey, benchmarked positions. Anybody who has a little idea, why do we say benchmark positions? Because now 50 to 60 positions, percent of your positions cutting across all levels, they normally are stable over a period of time. They don't change. Now, these positions should be matching with what I'm looking at in the market. Say, for example, I go with a JD, a position which is very unique to my organization, and it has no match in the market. Then how will I compare? Can I compare? Meena?
No, it will be a little tough for us actually.
Little tough, it's impossible. If there is a very unique position, which is very, very unique to your organization because you are into real product and service, so which is only unique niche kind of a thing. So obviously you cannot actually benchmark and say, this is the salary which this job is getting in the market, because when you can't compare it, then how can you actually say? Okay. So you should not take such positions which you cannot match. Got it? Okay.
Yes.
Now, having said that, you may say, but then what about those positions which are unique? That means they're left high and dry. And how do we come to a consensus, or how are we going to evaluate the jobs? To what are we going to pay to them? Any idea? I mentioned this last time, so I'm just asking you all.
Yeah.
Namrata, you want to, any idea? Bhuvnesh is a very unique organization. I mean, they are into the last mile, they have different, they have at least 5 to 10% a unique job. So how will you evaluate and come to a kind of, decision saying that this is what you have to pay? Bhuvnesh? Or anybody who wants to respond? Yes, guys.
Nirmala, last time we had this in the example where we did not have a market salary for few positions and still with the
That is what I want to know. I want to find out whether you also remember.
Yeah, still with the regression, we were able to see, what is the pay line that we want to go with.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is what Hewitt, Mercer, Hay, all of them do. 5 to 10% of positions, sometimes they are very unique. So, but what happens is when we arrive at a point, total point value for these positions, then based on you said constant, the slope value and the intercept value is constant. Now, using that slope and intercept value, I can arrive at what is the salary I need to pay. So that they pay what I do, what I pay is equitable internally. Okay? Okay, guys?
So, just you want to check practically the way I used to do, or rather I'm doing, is for such position, from where we hire and where we lose people, we get the data, and basis that we arrive that these are the only, as you rightly said, 7 to 8% position, because it's a startup organization. Usually you will not find comparable roles or positions. So that's the way we approach. It's very, I'm not sure it is statistically or it's a right science, but this is the way.
Yeah. So good, Bhupesh. So when you said where I hire them or lose them, that means yet you are still finding some positions which there is an overlap or something. I am actually talking about some very unique positions which are not found at all in the market. Yeah. Then how do you arrive at them? Okay.
So the way we use is that if I lose anyone from there with a 10%, 20%, 30% increase, that usually that person go. And if I want to hire also in that a very uncommon role, I use that data and then utilize for the annual merit increase proposal.
Yeah, but I think you need to get a little more data on that, because it might be a little skewed also, Bhupesh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. So I'm actually speaking a little generic, but maybe, sometimes when you are very specific, then we can look at some more data points for that, right? Okay. All right. So when we talked about these, now you're going to collect data. Okay. Now, so one is from where? Now, what kind of data are we going to look at? What kind of a data will we collect? What kind of data are we going to collect?
Yeah, just the designations, the salary and all.
So all that I talked about in the components of a compensation system, if you recall, direct pay, indirect pay, base pay, what is the base pay, different levels, okay? Then what are the variable pays? Are they having any pay for performance, deferred pays, ESOP? Are they having retention bonuses, hardship? So everything with regard to what? The direct pay, everything which is linked to cash, etc., and also everything related to perks, benefits, etc. In fact, sometimes you also get a lot of information with regard to your HR policies, procedures, then the kind of performance management they have, what kind of increments are they giving. So you have, in fact, number of hours of work, overtime, everything. Okay, it depends on your need. Now, there are different kind of service. One is absolutely customized. That is, you go to a consultant and say, well, I want to get a salary survey done, and you give the list of companies, your companies to whom you are losing, and you will ask them to do it. Now, this customized survey is very expensive. And when do you go about doing it? When you are having a huge issue in terms of what? Not able to attract talent. Your positions are lying vacant for 6 months to 1 year, and there's high attrition. Then you really want to know, hey, what's the problem? Let me actually, isn't it? When you are losing people, you are not able to get people, then you really want to know, hey, what's the kind of a salary am I paying? That's the time then you want to get a focused customized survey. Or else you can get surveys, you can buy surveys from Hewlett, etc., where you get industry specifics, and then use them for your own purpose. Okay. Or you can also get free, like two people said, we used Mercer's survey or Hewlett survey. You can be a part of a survey, an annual survey, which Aon Hewitt does, or even a Mercer does, because they do it for all the industries. So you can be a part of that survey and you get a free report. But that may not be very comprehensive, and by paying a little more, you can then be participate in a survey. Participate. Okay. But then by paying a little, I'm sure you can get a little more. So this is about the part. Now let me take you to the analysis part. Just stop sharing.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, somebody wants to say something?
Yes, Prashant here.
Yeah, Prashant, tell me.
The Aon Hewitt, the second one that you said, that those are actually very generic, the Aon Hewitt and the Mercer reports.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they don't help us actually. The purpose I wanted to do this session is to pull out data on my own and map it. So is there any process?
Can I tell you? So what happens typically, the free, see, you can't get everything out of free, no? No free lunches. So at least most of the HR heads, how do they use this free report? You get a kind of a trend about what is the percentage of increment this industry is giving. You get certain trends, right?
Yeah.
So year, if your organization is moving smoothly, you have no specific problems in terms of attraction, retention, etc.
Yeah, then it's fine.
Then it is fine. But if you have some specific issues and you have some kind of a drain at certain levels, or you want to retain certain critical positions, then obviously, then you will have to go a little deep down and say, hey, because you will also then start narrowing down on which are those specific industries from where I want talent, or where are they going, my people. Okay.
Yes.
So for how much are they going? Why are they going? So you will start analyzing, and then there are few ways. So today, because there are so many sites where I don't believe actually this, because Glassdoor, people say, okay, we use Glassdoor data. Okay, then, or for example, there are other sites which put up salary data, but how accurate and authentic it is, because in Glassdoor, you are actually putting your data. How authentic there's no validation. Because if you are going to give somebody a hike based on this, do you think you will take a chance?
No. Those are social media sites, and basically no verification has been done for whatever I can put in. So I rather tried going to Naukri.com and taking a dump for that particular experience and skill set for a particular location, and then build a maximum minimum range around it. That's what. So basically,
or else, if you have a very good discipline at your recruitment, and typically we used to do it, maintain your data, hiring data, in the sense people who are being interviewed by you at different levels, they will bring salary slips. That's the best time you can actually capture the data. And sometimes, I'm sorry to be a little smarter, you want to also just get data, and that you can't afford people, but you still would like to know what are these companies paying, so you are trying to send certain leads saying that we have positions. If you have noticed, a lot of them do, we have positions.
Yeah.
It's actually to capture data. They may not, it is actually you will see, we are having positions, we are recruiting for this, and people will rush, but as such there were no positions, they are only collecting data. Okay, so these are smart ways of doing it.
Yeah, so my scenario is like I'm working as a consultant basically, and a startup of 70 people in Bangalore wants us to map them with their peers, and we cannot use a Hewitt report, which is a generic industrial benchmark. So we cannot compare a startup with the Wipro or Infosys. So how do I go about it is what my exactly reason for doing this session is.
Hi, Nirmala, can I pitch in 1 minute here?
Please do. Who is this?
Yeah, Ratna.
Yeah.
Yeah, who is this actually asking? Is it, somebody was talking right now that they are trying to do it for a startup company in Bangalore.
Prashant here.
Prashant, hi Prashant. So probably, with my experience, you can check it on salary.com.
Okay, or payscale.com?
No. Salary.com is...
Even these Hayes and Hewitts and Mercer all have their own competitors, and they bring out the companies which are something similar to you when they're pitching the idea as well.
Yeah, but salary.com, Prashant, you have, a very good detailed job description with experiences, and, the role is defined clearly. Okay. And, that will give you definitely a idea, trend for that particular role. And the beauty is they even, define for data analyst 1 or developer 1, developer 2, developer 3 like this. So although these are all, ideally, when we look at it, it's a kind of a progression, not a real promotion. But still, they have the salary data, which will help you at least to understand the market median rate for that particular role, because the JD is good.
Okay.
Thank you, Nirmala. This is what I wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Can we compare with, say, similar startups? Is the company name mentioned there?
So, okay. What I would like you all to do is probably, Prashant, you can also do a one-on-one with Ratna and get some more inputs. Okay. Sure. But nevertheless, we can also look at what are the various sources of getting accurate data, and we can then pass it on to you. Okay, Prashant?
Sure, ma'am. Wonderful.
Thank you, Nirmala. That's why I just took only 2 minutes. Yeah,
all right.
Just to add on to it, in your exercise in following this session, you will be getting an exercise which has all the descriptors, all the answers, and step-by-step process to how to conduct the survey, from where to get the data, collect the data, and analyze it. So everything will be given in the assignment.
Okay, ma'am. That would be
great. Thank you.
So we have clearly given how to collect the data, the secondary data from Glassdoor, from salary.com, from Ambition Box, from PayScale, from the portals, and how to arrive at the midpoint and the min and max and all those exercises. So once you have done it, you will be perfectly, able to do any such survey for the organizations.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Vilma. Yes, I think there will be a very systematic kind of a write-up with a lot of support, wherein you have to do an assignment, and probably that will help you all to get real clarity on how to go about with collecting the data, right? And also, now once you have collected the data, how do you collate it and how do you analyze? That is the biggest challenge as well. All right. So let us actually look into that. And this is a very old salary survey report, but yet there are a couple of things which will actually drive the point. So typically, as I said, when you are looking at a survey, say for example, this is a Watson White, a little outdated data. So it's saying it's giving data for 65 benchmarked positions. Okay, 65 benchmarked positions. Now, these 65 benchmarked positions, how many companies? 25 companies. And what kind of a companies? All IT companies. Where are those companies? 1 second. Yeah. So all the IT companies, and these 65 positions are further categorized into various functions. Like for example, consulting, non-consulting, admin, finance, marketing and communication, quality, sales, etc. So typically when you get a survey, you will get it in this manner, saying that, these are the companies from which we have got data for these benchmarked positions, and they'll be further classified into their respective functions. Now, the challenge, and these are the list of participants. Now, if you happen to be one of those IT companies that say, hey, it fits me, then probably this data will help you. But if you are, say, for example, a chip company, but all the list of participants are IT product development companies. So chip companies pay much higher salaries. So probably for me, this data may not be really the right kind of a data to look into. Okay, that's one point. So now, having said that, these are the list of companies. What's important for you to see is how will you actually read a data? So when you say read a data, say for example, I'm looking at total guaranteed cash. Okay, typically in a report, yeah. Are you able to see the data here to some extent? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. 1 second. So when you read a data, typically it will show up like this. That is list of companies, list of positions, function wise, and you will get something like, if you have ever read a data, you'll get 10th percentile, 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 75th. Now the challenge is, how will you, say for example, you have a senior vice president, level 8 senior vice president. All right, senior vice president. Now assume that this senior vice president or director job description matches with your job description existing in your organization. Okay, around 15 plus years of experience, etc. It matches. Now, how will you read your data? Anyone? Because some of you have already looked at salary survey data. How will you read your data? Anybody? How will you read your data? How will you then use this salary survey data? So here is it. For example, senior vice president or director in Meena's company is paying how much? 28 lakhs. Got it?
Yeah.
How much?
28 lakhs.
28 lakhs. All right. So the current salary, total guaranteed cash, I'm looking at again apple to apple. Total guaranteed cash is 28 lakhs. Now, so what do? I will look at here. Vis-a-vis the market, at what percentile am I paying? So you all tell me, any one of you, where do you think I am with the market? Where am I with the market?
Somewhere around 55, 51, 55%.
Exactly. So to be accurate, so between 58th percentile and 75th percentile of the market, right? Because the 50th percentile is saying 26 lakh and 75th is saying 37. So since I'm paying 28, I could be around 52, 53, right? All of you have understood that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, having said that, the Meena's company will say, hey, we are paying 52. That means just a little above the midpoint or the median, right?
Yeah.
Because the median is the midpoint, 50th percentile. I'm paying a little more than that. But this is a very senior position, critical position, and I want people to stay on. So I want to pitch myself at a 90th percentile of the market. So what will I do?
We'll give
So I
him
will check what is the 90th percentile of the market. 39, right?
39.
So what I will need to do then, shift from 28 lakhs to 39 lakhs. Okay. Now, Do I want to shift? It all depends on how affordability, right? What is my pay policy? So whether I want to really lead the market, or is this position very critical in a critical function? So definitely I want to pay the highest. So once I get to know that 90th percentile is paying this much, and I'm right now at around 52 percentile, again I take a call saying that whether I want to shift. Now when I'm shifting, I'm not shifting the person, I'm shifting that grade or level, senior vice president level. I'm not making any shift for the person. Are you with me, guys?
Yeah.
It's very important. Let's take another example. Okay. We will take a principal consultant. Again, the principal consultant job description is matching. All right. Now I'm paying about, say, 14 lakhs. All right. Where am I?
Between 15 to 75th, actually. You're mostly closer to 75th.
I'm very close to say, I could say about 70th percentile, right? I'm around 70th percentile.
25.
So then I will say, hey, so that means I'm really good to go. I think maybe I'll just touch upon 75th percentile. I'll come closer. But so I'm happy. So what does it mean? That with the market survey, I know exactly where am I and whether I really wish to lead or lag, or I'm comfortable there. So it is not necessary that once I get a salary survey, I definitely have to increase, like somebody said, right? Yes, I will know whether this position is getting paid less or high. And then I make a choice depending on, again, on other conditions, whether it's critical and other contextual conditions, whether I really want to shift into a, make that correction, market correction, and position myself into a higher percentile. Okay, so this is how you actually read a salary survey.
Ma'am, quick one. Total guaranteed cash means fixed salary or also the retention bonus and variable pay?
So when you are saying total, the word guaranteed, am I getting it month on month? Got it?
Okay. Because retention bonus generally is annual or.
But having said that, I should not assume anything when I'm doing a survey. I should check with the survey, the report saying that what is total guaranteed cash? Very important, black and white. What elements have they incorporated, so that you also incorporate the same elements. Got it?
Yeah, so we need to check their glossary there.
No assumptions, because I may be thinking CTC and they may be having something. So no assumptions here, because it's a question of money. Okay. All right. So now what is very, very important is, how do you arrive at this 10th percentile, 25th percentile, and how do you, if I've taken 10 companies as my companies from where I have taken data, how do I arrive at this percentile? Anybody who's familiar with it? How do you analyze? Yes or no?
I mean, the question is about how do we analyze this report, or how do we arrive at percentiles?
How do you arrive at percentile?
Okay, so we take if I'm right, I don't know, I'm guessing maybe maxima and minima. So we deduct the minima from the maxima, and then divide it into 25, 58, and 75 quarters. I mean, quarters.
I'm going to give you an exercise now. I'll explain and then give you an exercise. Okay.
Sure.
For example, I'm an employer. I'm a startup company. Prashant has started a startup company. I'm in a startup company. Okay. Now, I want to recruit software engineers, because I'm going to do some coding and developing. All right. Now, I want to hire the best. So I want to position myself at what? At 95th percentile. At what percentile?
95th.
95th percentile. So what all data I have? I'm a startup. I don't know how much to pay, but I know that I want to pay at a 95th percentile of the market, because ultimately I'm getting from the market only people. So I want to position myself at 95th percentile. So what have I done? What will I do? I will start looking at similar peer companies' data. What are they paying for that typical position? Yes or no? Yes? Okay. So I have gathered data from A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q. Okay. These are all the companies. How many? So
Okay.
these are the companies. Got it? Huh? And what data did I pick up? I picked up what is the monthly salary of the software developer per month. What are they paying? Because these are the companies. These are my peer companies. So can you see this? I've written here 22, 17,000, 34,000, 16,000. All right.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm paying. Now what I want to do, I want to pay at a 95th percentile. So what will I do? Come on, guys. The question is, how much to pay? Anybody? Very easy.
Use the percentile formula and 0.9.
Absolutely, guys. See, I put a, so what will I do now? Go to what? Formula? Then what will I do? Go to?
Percentile.
Percentile. Then
Select the data.
Okay.
Choose the array.
Right? Array. So what will I do? Array is? Click.
Yeah. Complete data.
All my data. Now, what is K? What do I want to do? 95th percentile. So what will I do? 0.95. And then say, okay. So how much should I pay?
27,500.
27,500. Now quickly tell me at a 50th percentile, what should I do? You tell me, I will follow. So what will be at a, what is the midpoint or what is the median of this data? Market data. Tell me.
0.5.
No. So what will I do? Go to FX. No. Then next.
Yeah. Percentile.
Percentile. So then okay. Then what I do?
Yeah.
Select the data set.
Choose the array.
All right.
Yes,
And then what do I do? I'm saying 50th. What should I do? 0.5. So, and then say okay. So at a midpoint or at a median, what is the salary? So here you didn't know, but you wanted to pay the 95th, so you will pay 27,500. But say, for example, you are paying something like 16,000. Okay, this company is paying 16,000. Now you don't know how much, what is the percentile, but you are saying, hey, I want to pay at a 85th percentile. So then what will you do?
We'll calculate the 85th percentile and then minus 16,000.
Exactly. So let's do it again, once again. Great. So I have put here. So what will I do? All right. Go to percentile. Go to okay. Done. Then K. What is it? 0.85.
Yeah.
Okay. So 22,100. So what will I do? So the difference between 22,100 and 16,000, that's the difference. I'll have to make up for it. Or if I want to know what am I, so if I want to know what is the percentile at which I am paying, what will you do? This is the other question. We used percentile enough. We know how to do it. Now, if I want to know 16,000 is the salary I'm paying in this data, at what percentile is this? How will I do? Okay.
So first we find out the percentile at
here is it.
Slab.
Okay.
Slab, like, yeah.
FX. Now what will I do? Use percent rank. Got it? Then say okay. then okay.
Particulars.
Okay.
Done, guys?
Yeah.
76. Yeah.
76 percentile. Should we do one more?
Yeah.
Okay, you choose. Should we choose 40? Should we choose? So which is the 100th percentile here?
34,000.
34.
Excellent one. And which is the lowest? 14,000.
14,000.
Okay, we choose about 22,000 wala. Okay. So again, I'll just put this. So what do I do? Function. Then what am I using? Percent. Rank.
Rank.
Okay. Then
Array, the complete set of data.
okay.
Yeah.
And then
And
I just go and if I want this one,
54.
highlight it
17.
and say okay. Okay, guys. Now you are thorough with it.
0.23.
Okay. So quickly. So you have to just take. Vilma, should I give only 5 minutes or 10 minutes for the work they have to do? So, guys, you've been sent a small attachment with this to calculate. I'm going to put it up. Okay. So, Vilma has sent to all of you this data, right? You have it. You have it with you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me explain it to you. Now, you see in my organization, I have 3 grades, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 for a software engineer. All right. Now, I have actually collected data from Wipro, TCS. You can see all these companies for pay grade 1, pay grade 2, and pay grade 3. So 0 to 1, 1 to 3, and 3 to 5. This is the data which have been collected. Now, my current salary, if you notice, at pay grade 1 is 360. Okay. And at pay grade 2 is 620. And at pay grade 3, it is 820. Got it? Okay. I've already calculated in this sheet. Now, I want you to calculate one is, what is the 50th percentile of the market data? And am I paying more or less as in compared to the 50th percentile? And at what percentile of the market am I paying my current salary? You got it?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
Likewise, for 620 also, I want you to calculate 50th. Don't calculate 10th and 25th. Because normally you calculate market data 25th and 50th and 75th. So quickly you can just calculate 50th and 75th percentile. The same applies to this also. Am I paying more than the median salary of the market? And at what percentile am I paying? Okay. And likewise 820.
So I put the percentile formula by selecting
So
the...
yeah, 10th percentile, I'm really not so concerned. Let us start looking at our 50th percentile. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All that you need to do is what? Array?
Yeah,
what
sorry.
E6,
yeah, E6 to E15. Yeah, 409.
Okay, so let us see at a 50th percentile what is the market showing? 409. Okay, and you are paying 620.
620.
So obviously,
yeah.
So the company is paying much more than the 50th percentile. And yeah, by how much more are you paying vis-a-vis the 50th percentile?
51%.
Current pay versus 50th percentile, 51%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let us look at another pay grade 3 and 50th percentile. Yeah. Now I'll take up, somebody had some concern, then I'll take it up.
Just a note before we proceed. I think Adir, there's some correction with respect to 90th percentile for grade 2 and 3, I guess.
Who is this?
This is Narendra here, ma'am.
Yeah, Narendra, tell me.
Adir, I was just looking at the data for grade 2 and 3. The 90th percentile value was something I found. The formula was not correct for Adir, not with respect to.
So I'll just check.
Yeah,
I'll just check. I think it may be E6 or the word similar
Yeah,
one
the
that we had.
total array was different.
yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Yes, Nikhil, I'm here.
Ma'am, so I was able to calculate all the percentiles, right? They're looking in line. However, the current annual pay that we are giving, right? In the percentile basis, the percentile formula, this is what it was coming. If I look at the percent rank inclusive, right? But the same formula, when I said that I'm taking the range aspect of it, right? By deducting this amount with the minimum and divided by max and minimum's range, right? This is coming out to be 97 percentile, and percentile was not taking anything above the 100. So I did this.
Come again. What you used another formula, is it? What is it?
Ma'am.
Hello.
I basically, like, what I was speaking about was in the range aspect of it. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Right. So I did.
One second. Nikhil, I have to clarify here. When you're saying range, what is range? Salary range, right?
Yeah.
Salary range of a level. Okay. Right. But here, you are still establishing these are data points from different companies. So typically when you use this data, you are typically using that percentile formula. Don't use the range formula.
Okay, perfect. So, but ma'am, the challenge that I was getting was when I was using the percentile formula, it was not calculating, it was coming out to be #NA. Is there something wrong that I'm doing?
Yes, exactly. That was my question too.
Simple. Which one? Tell me which one you are doing.
So
now for which
in the second category, when I'm looking at the current pay, which is which we are offering is 6,20,000.
Yeah. So current pay you are offering at
20
lakhs 20,000. I mean 620,000. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now 50th percentile is 409,000. Right.
Yeah.
So when you are doing a percentage, it is simply what the difference, the percentage of the difference. No. Are you getting me? It is not percentile ranking.
If you could just
see, it's a simple maths formula. For example, are you getting me?
So since this is more than 100%, that's why it's throwing errors #NA?
Yes, I believe so.
Simple maths formula saying that what is the difference between, so we are saying how much more are you paying? What's the question?
How much more we are paying?
Vis-a-vis the 50th percentile, just, I mean, the question is very, very specific. You are paying 409,000 at a 50th percentile. I mean, the market is showing 409 at a 50th percentile. Okay. So, the actual salary is 620. So, how much more are you paying vis-a-vis your 50th?
Okay.
It's a simple maths formula.
It's just coming out to be 51% more, right?
Are you getting me now? It's not a percentile ranking or a percentile array and all that you need to take. It is only the difference and then what is the percentage.
Got it, ma'am.
Got it? Hey guys, so we will proceed. So we have covered all this. We talked about, looking at our databases, looking at what kind of a survey we want to look at the industry, location, across industries. Then we also said we could also do a customized, then the kind of, typically the number of companies should be at least an ideal size is 10 to 12. Just 4 or 5 will be a too little size to compare with. And definitely we talked about then what are the kind of components or elements you want to collate data. So you need to list out all of them. So we'll look at all these things. Okay. Yeah. Now there is one small thing I have to now talk about is you have got survey data of say of last year, or it's old by 6 months. Now, can we still use that data? Anybody? Yeah, because a lot of people. Yeah, Nikhil?
Yes, we can.
We can use. So how do we use that data? So that is called aging
the data. Yeah.
Aging the data. So typically, how do you age the data? Very simple. See, I've just give you an example. Say, for example, the current salary for a position is say 100,000. Okay. Now, typically that aging factor also will be given. So the aging factor is 12%. And you want to age it. That means you want to use it after 12 months. So how would you go about? So first of all, you have to calculate by how much amount that the salary will change. So how do you do it? Step 1. The period for which you want to use it, by how many months or 1 year. At best, you can use it for 1 year or 2 years, not more than that, because market dynamics will be changing. So it is preferably used for at best 1 year or 2 months. So here, like 12 months. So what you do, you use the period, that is 12 months divided by 12 months multiplied by the aging factor, which will give you survey aging factor, which is called 0.12. Right? Now, that survey aging factor has to be multiplied by the salary data, which is about 100,000. So what is the amount which changes? So 12,000 rupees. So you have to add that 12,000 rupees to that salary data of that position, which becomes 112,000. After you use that data. So it is nothing but when you're using a survey data and you want to age it after a certain period, first understand by how much period. It could be 6 months, 12 months, etc. Then in any analysis or when you go to Google, you'll get something called survey aging factor. So all that you need to do is multiply that survey aging factor with your salary data, and that will give you the amount by which your data will change. Okay,
how to arrive at this survey aging factor?
You can't arrive at survey aging factor. Typically, if you go through any Hewitt analysis or even internet, if you just put that, what is the survey aging factor, it will give you that aging factor.
Okay.
Because that takes into consideration the GDP, the COLA, everything. So you can't really, start calculating that. So typically that you have to pick it up from survey aging factor, because it has a lot of various elements incorporated into it. Okay,
because it ranges 6 or 7, 7 or 8.
Pardon?
I mean, it might be between 7 or 8 typically for IT.
Yeah, typically. But no, sometimes you can't assume. No, you need to really check, because sometimes maybe recession or maybe inflation. So because your survey aging factor also changes based on the kind of inflation you have, right? Okay.
So just to understand, if I have to use for 18 months old, so the formula will change to 18 months divided by 18 months into the survey aging factor?
No. 18. So 18 months. So break it up 12 months by 12 months. And then again, what is the rest? 6 months by 12 months. So 1.5 year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
how the formula will be?
The formula will be, you do it into 2 splits, like 12 months by 12 months. Then again, 6 months by 12 months. So calculate for 1 year and then calculate for 6 months.
Okay.
I'll give you an example to do that so that you will understand. I will give you after some time, I'll just give you one small query where you can calculate. Okay, 2 examples so that you can become perfect in it. Okay, guys. So now I want to take you to certain compensation terms, which are very, very important. And I'm sure all of you heard about it. This typically a lot of our HR people, Compa-ratio, and sometimes they say, hey, what is this Compa-ratio? And especially competent people tend to use it. Compa-ratio, which also is called comparator ratio. Any idea, anybody who's heard about Compa-ratio? Before I take that, anybody? Yeah?
Yes.
What is it? First, let us learn how to calculate Compa-ratio. Okay? Huh?
Yes, ma'am. It's basically what I understand is the average of the range of salaries offered in the company.
Okay. So when I say ratio, as you know, it is there are. Oh, sorry. 1 second. So, no, let me erase it. Yeah. Okay. 1 second. Okay, let me just draw a line first. I'll take a very, very simple example. This is a salary grade. Say level 1. Level 1. Okay. Salary grade or salary range. So it has a min of 8,000 and a max of 1,000. Very clear? Okay. So typically, if I say then, it will have this will be 9. This will be 10. Will be 11. So this will be 1, 1, 0, 0. Okay. And this will be oh, sorry. I'll just put that 1 second. Yeah. So this will be okay. So my min is 8,000, my max is 12,000, and my midpoint is how much?
10,000.
10,000. Okay. And this is for any salary range or salary level. Now, when I talk about a Compa-ratio, say for example, Snehalata's salary is 9,000 rupees. Okay, what's the base salary? 9,000. Then when I'm going to calculate what's a Compa-ratio, 9,000 divided by the midpoint of that grade she's in. Okay. Equal to, how much will it be? Quick guys.
0.
Or slash. Will it be this much? Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah.
Space. Wait. Point. Will it be this much?
Yeah.
0.9 or 90%. Say for example, let us just learn to calculate first of all how to calculate base salary of that incumbent divided by the midpoint and percentage of that. Okay. Say for example at 11,000, you tell me what will be the Compa-ratio. Quick.
110%.
Absolutely. 110%. Okay. And at 120?
120%.
1.2.
120 or 1.2. So but why should I calculate? What is the advantage? How do I know? So with the help of Compa-ratio, what happens? I get to an understanding as to how far or how near is my base salary vis-a-vis the midpoint. Say for example, a person getting 90% is at a 90% Compa-ratio. I know that this person he must be either new in the organization or with just few years of experience, maybe 1 to 2 years of experience, right? And okay, fairly competent. So typically what happens with the help of these Compa-ratios, I then decide on my promotion policy. I decide on my recruitment policy, that is hiring policy, my fitment policy, etc. How? Say, for example, I have a person with 5 years of experience and, having... so what will I do? I'll say, okay, fine, he's almost competent. So I will give that person maybe at a midpoint, but I won't go beyond the midpoint. Because whenever I actually hire a person at more than the midpoint, which is at 110 or 120, that means I'm actually incurring higher wage cost. So I will have a hiring policy. I don't care anybody, but my hiring policy is that at every grade, at every level, I will only recruit people at a 90 comp ratio or at best at midpoint, not beyond that. That will be my policy. Got it? Why? If I say kind of I'm hiring a person at 110 or 120, already max, where will he go next year? I'll have to promote him. Got it? So typically the hiring policy is dependent on what kind of a compa-ratios you are actually wanting to hire them. So 80, so they will say, okay, 85 or 90. Now, people who are at 110, now they may get maximum one more increment. After that, they have reached the max. Then what do you do with them? So typically in organizations, in your organization, what do you do when a person has reached the maximum of that particular grade he is in? What do you do then?
We give cash on bonus or something like that.
Excellent, excellent. Good organizations will maintain their salary structure, and what they will do, they will say, hey, I will give performance bonus, okay, as per the rating scale, if he's got a 4 or a 5, but I will not give him an increment which will be rolled into the base salary, because if it will get rolled into the base salary, then that means his base salary gets increased, and I don't want to extend my grade, right?
Yeah.
And most of the mom and pop shops, or most of this organization traditional, where you hire by just shaking hand, they do not have a grading structure, and so they have this mess of hiring at any level, and so they don't have where does it end and where does it begin, don't know. Now when you do that, what happens typically when you don't have the discipline? There is something called salary compression. What is salary compression? You will hire, I'm sure you will see many a times, you will hire people for the same job at a higher salary as opposed to people who are doing the same job within the organization at much lesser salary. Does that paradox arise there in organizations?
Yes, ma'am. People who are working since a long tenure in the same organization get paid less, while
in the same job also, because in the market, the salaries now, you can't hire a person for the same salary you are giving within, and you have to hire at a higher. So what will happen typically? If you don't do market corrections for the people who are there within the organization, then demotivation, right? Obviously, people will then lose interest in their jobs, and then there's a huge conflict. So before you actually hire, you have to look within and start making those market corrections, which normally most of the organizations, and especially people, some organizations, where you don't have salary structures, a lot of salary compressions happen there. Okay, guys. I want to give you an exercise quickly. Compa-ratio. So typically compa-ratios, okay, let me teach you two more things. Compa-ratios help you to fix your promotion policy, to fix your hiring policy, etc. Now there are two rules. There are two rules when you're doing fitment. There is something called red circle rule. Have you heard of red circle rule?
Yeah, I heard it once. It's about people who are higher, outliers, basically higher than the max.
Okay, red circle rule is when you're hiring, or say level 1, my range is 8,000 to max 12,000. I cannot hire a person lesser than 8,000. Just because he's coming at a lesser base, I'll say, okay, I'll put him at 6,000. You still have to give him a minimum of 8,000. You still have to start him at the
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm just telling. It's in a hurry to do. Okay. No. What is the red circle rule? Please erase the memory. So when you have a salary range of min 8,000 to max 12,000, I was actually wanting to link it up with this. Yeah. So the red circle rule is that you cannot increase the salary of that person by giving them an increment, but you can only give a performance bonus. So that's called the red circle rule. Okay. Now the green circle rule is that you cannot reduce the salary of a person you are hiring at a particular grade. You have to begin him with that minimum of the salary which is there as per the grade. Green circle. This is called green circle. That means you cannot reduce the salary, but give him, you have to start him at the minimum salary. Okay. So these two rules have to be, most of the organizations don't follow these rules. But if you have a salary structure, I think you'll have to actually stick by your red circle rule and a green circle rule. Okay, now,
ma'am, I have one question on this.
Yeah, please tell.
But now, since you explained the red circle rule, can you just also talk a little more on the difference between salary comprehension and compression and the red circle? How it will differ then?
Salary compression and red circle are two different things. Red circle is, say, for example, Narendra is in this grade, level 1, 8,000 to 12,000. He is put in 1, 2, 3 years. He got 1, 2, 3 increments and he has reached to maximum of 12,000. Now the boss doesn't want to promote him. Okay. Now what happens? He has touched maximum 12,000. Now this year he's got a rating scale for his performance on a rating scale of 1 to 5, 4. Right? Now I have to necessarily give him a performance bonus equivalent to that rating scale of 4. But I cannot give him an increment which rolls into this 12,000 and increases basic, because this grade ends at max of 12,000.
I have a follow-up question on this. So if we consider, the survey aging factor here, where, the maximum range, increases over the period of time. So then when we, can we cross this red circle rule, or how is it like?
No. Don't link up aging factor with the red circle rule. Simply just remember that in your organization, there are salary grades. Got it? You have level 1, level 2, level 3. Every salary grade has a minimum and a maximum salary range. Got it? Okay. Now you are there at a certain salary grade, maybe level 1, level 2. You have reached your maximum. Simple?
Yeah.
The organization has not promoted you. Okay. But you have worked the whole year. So you have to get some performance bonus. Basis what? Basis on your performance, basis on the rating which you have been evaluated. So you get a performance bonus equivalent to that rating. But that performance bonus is not rolled into your base salary, typically which happens if the range was further on. So it stops. So in such a situations, what do organizations do? Typically they promote, but if you are not ready for promotion, or if there is no vacancy for promotion, they might actually put you there for 1 year, 2 years, giving you performance bonus. But they will not let you stay for longer, because that will demotivate you. Sometimes what happens, they'll put you for a year or so, but then by then, sometimes maybe you have done some market correction, and then suddenly because of market corrections, the grade has actually then extended beyond the max. So you tend to gain. Or maybe you have been shifted to another function where you've been again, re-evaluated and put on a different grade, right? So that's why you have all these IJPs and all, where if people are actually, they have reached their max and you're looking at different options in organizations. Otherwise, they'll ask you to quit. They'll say, okay, fine, Because what happens when you think about this, most of the organizations like ITS and all, if longer the period I have and I keep giving increments, what is happening? Wage cost increases, but my productivity is still the same. So typically a staying period in a BPO for a team lead, etc., is not more than 3 to 5 years, because every year he stays on more than that. It's a wage cost, but his productivity is not increasing. So there is something called stay-in period. For example, just because you are there in that grade, I can't keep increasing your salary. There is a cost. There's a wage cost also. You are with me?
Ma'am, can we take an example? Probably that will help everyone.
Which
so
one?
suppose like a practical example which I come across, like during increment appraisal, guys working in the same team with the same skill set get the same rating, same performance rating.
Yeah, but that is another one which I want to tell you with regard to comp ratios. Now, typically what happens, comp ratios are used during annual increments. What do we do in annual increments? We will actually then start calculating at an individual level all the comp ratios. Okay. Why do I want to do that? Say, for example, 2 people have got a rating of 4, but one is at a 90% comp ratio and the other one is at a 110% comp ratio. Got it? Okay, doing the same job. Now, what will I do? Why do I calculate them? Because now I want to, for some reason, this person has been hired previously and at a lower salary. So I want to give more increment and I will give this person less increment. And many a times it happens. I have actually experienced so often. Why am I getting less increment when the other person who's also got a rating of 4 has got more increment? Got it?
Because
so what is the reason?
already,
because you are already at a higher comp. So I want to bring parity. Both of you are doing the same job. So you will get a lesser proportion of increment and this guy will get a little more increment because you've been hired maybe recently and you were already taken at a higher base salary. But this guy has been taken at a lower base because at that point of time, market was paying very less.
Yeah. So the
how do I
vision
bring
is
this
to...
person? So what happens when I want to do these salary compressions? Then it has happened because I have not done any market correction. So this is the time during annual increment, I start looking at all these instances and I will start making corrections, taking at least 1 or 2 years because I can't do them cash flow. I can't do them immediately. Got it?
Yeah, so our vision of the organization of compensation philosophy should be like bringing less disparity and bringing everyone closer to the midpoint.
Yeah, it depends.
So that's why
not closer to the midpoint. If 2 people are doing the same job and they have got same rating, I can't quickly jump a person from 9,000 to 11,000, obviously. But I will do it in small quantums.
Yeah.
Because it's also, burden on the finance.
I mean, if we give, say, 10% increment to 9,000 guy, he will be at 9,900, and 10% to 11,000 guy, he will be getting 1,100
so
rupees.
I will start reducing here.
Yeah, so the gap will increase between, right now it is 2,000 rupees gap, which will increase to say 2,200 rupees gap.
So that they see equity.
You need to reduce that gap. That's the motto.
So that, I'm actually sending a message that, there is fairness and equity in the way we actually reward and recognize people.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys. Yeah, I'll just take you through that. Sorry. Yeah. So comp ratio, when we looked at the same thing can be looked at even market midpoint or median, what we call. You can also see, hey, how far is it from the market midpoint, right? Using comp ratio. I want you to quickly, I'll give you a data. I'll just put it on this. Maybe you can do it quickly. It's an individual exercise. It will give you a little idea about, how we can also use okay, text. All right. So I'm just giving you a rough data. This is the position A, and the salary of this position is $7,500. All right. Okay. Now 25P at a 25th percentile. Okay. This is when I say 25th percentile itself, it's market data, please. And the midpoint of the salary range is, sorry, midpoint. I will just mention midpoint is good enough. Midpoint is 10,000. Okay. And 75 percentile is 14590. Okay. Now what I want you to do is quickly, the person's base salary is 75,000. The midpoint is 10,000. Market data 25th percentile is 6,500. Okay. And the 75th percentile is 14,590. So what is the comp ratio for this person and what action will you take? These two data points are market points, 25th percentile, 75th percentile. And this is the base salary of the person. This is the midpoint. Tell me, what is the comp ratio and what action will you take?
Comp ratio is 0.75.
Pardon?
0.75 is the comp ratio.
Divided
by midpoint. 7,500 divided by midpoint, 10,000.
10,000, correct. Absolutely. So how much is it, comp ratio?
0.75.
0.75.
0.75. Okay, 0.75. So if that is your comp ratio and that, let me put it here. 75%, right? Oh, sorry. Okay, 0.75. Okay. Now, your market data is 25th percentile is 6,500 and at a 75th percentile is 14,590. So would you recommend a hike? What kind of an action will you take?
If the guy is a good performer, I would bring him to 75th percentile.
It depends affordability. But yes, you are saying yes, there is a need, right? There is a need.
Definitely, there is a need to give hike.
There is a need to give a hike. So typically, that's how you take a decision. I'll just give you a very hypothetical, very funny data. Okay. Again, this is 1, 6, 1, 2, 3. This is the base data. Say, sorry. This is the base data. Again, 25th percentile is 6,500. Okay. Midpoint is the same. And 75th percentile is the same. Now, what action will you take? What is the comp ratio here?
16.
160%.
Exactly. 1 point. 1.6. 6, right? So obviously is being paid much higher. So you will not recommend any hike there, right?
We'll go with a salary compression.
Yeah. So typically what happens when you're doing an annual increment, you are actually calculating all the comp ratios of individuals and then looking at whether they were actually having a salary compression, what kind of ratings. So you take a combination of factors and then say, hey, do I really wish to hike his salary, or do I, so that's how you take decisions. All right.
Ma'am, I have a question. You arrived at this midpoint while calculating the Compa-ratio, right?
No,
so
no.
that is
No. This midpoint I gave you as a salary.
No, I'm asking as a conceptually. For every grade, we would be having a 10 percentile, 25th percentile, 50 percentile, 75 and 98 percentile, right? So for every
this
grade,
is market data. I gave 25th percentile of market data and I gave 75th. But every grade also will have a. So say for example, a grade. 1 second. Yeah, absolutely. That is important for you to know. So when I'm saying, so your midpoint will always be
50th percentile.
Yeah. So then
25th and 75.
Yeah, you can always have this, right? But this is market data I gave you, not the grade data. That is the market data I gave. Okay.
But while calculating the Compa-ratio, we consider the grade data, right? What is the midpoint and what's the individual is sitting at currently.
Exactly.
Then we calculate the Compa-ratio for the individual, right?
Yeah. So here you can also do a Compa-ratio, which is also called with not only with your own midpoint, but you can also check. These days, you are checking individual Compa-ratios with the market median or midpoint.
Market correction purposes, right?
So that you want to know critical positions, how far or how close, how much, whether they are being paid less or whether they are being paid more. Okay. Now, at an individual level, you can calculate Compa-ratios. At an individual level.
Yeah.
Now, you can also calculate at a team level. You can also calculate at a department or a functional level. And even at a organization level. Now, this Compa-ratio is so powerful, saying that, if you have, say, at an organization level, a Compa-ratio of 120%, what does it mean? How will you read into it?
Extraordinary.
At a higher wage cost, or that means your people are, you are actually having beyond. That means, let's say, for example, 60, 120. That means you are. A lot of people are actually beyond the midpoint. They could be highly experienced people, many people with long tenurity and high wage cost. So typically organizations strive to be like this. You may have 65% to 70% before the midpoint, and the rest here, say 30%. Why? Because you always want to keep your wage costs low and you always start people. Otherwise, you must look at your hiring policy. Are you actually taking a lot of people beyond the midpoint, a lot of tenured people? Are you with me, guys? Yeah. And if you want more info on Compa-ratios and also some more work, I will send few things to Velma and she will pass it on to you. Okay, guys?
Ma'am, organization Compa-ratio, I mean, how do we do it individually for every employee?
Very interesting. Yes. So you know how to calculate individual. Say, for example, for a team, then I will take what the base salaries of all the team. Okay. Now I will then, what I'll do, I will also divide it by what? Anybody? Any clue?
Market midpoint?
Absolutely. The midpoint. Likewise for function and likewise for entire organization.
Okay, so we don't take the average salary. I mean, we take the average salary of the team. No, we take individuals only.
Say for example, I have 3 people in a team.
So my question is, while calculating the Compa-ratio of the team, should we take the market midpoint or team midpoint?
I'll give you an example. Okay. Say for example, I have simple example. I'll just take a small team. I have 3 people in the team. Their base salaries are 30,000. Okay. Then 73,000. Then 1, 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay. These are the 3 people I have. 150,000. All right. Midpoints being for this team 4, 0, 8, 0, 1, 2, 3. Can you quickly calculate Compa-ratio for individually for all these people? Quickly. Here, put the. This is the midpoint. 30,000 base salary, midpoint. This one. 73,000 midpoint. This much. This midpoint. Quickly calculate the
0.75 for 30,000.
0.75 for first.
Exactly. 0.75. Correct. Then come up quickly.
4,
0. Adhir, I thought was quick.
0.91.
Fantastic. The next. I've also started.
1.25.
Correct. Now, if I have to do, what will be the average Compa-ratio of these 3 people? What will I do? 0.75 plus 0.91 plus 1.25 divided by 3. How much? This will be what actually? Average. Zero point how much?
2.91.
9?
1.
97 or 91?
97.
And if I want group
Average.
Group Compa-ratio. What will I do? I will add this. What? And divide by this. Got it? Which will be a little higher actually. Okay, guys?
Group Compa-ratio, again, can you repeat, Nirmala?
Compa-ratio. I will add 30,000 plus 73,000 plus 150,000. Okay. And then divided by again 40,000 plus 80,000 plus this.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which will be a little higher actually when you calculate. Done?
Yeah.
Okay. I will stop sharing. Let me go to this, our main. Okay. So we finished Compa-ratios. If you see, there's a very clear example here as well. So all of you know, I'm sure you can now calculate Compa-ratios. Okay. And you can also look at market ratios, which is again calculated base salary with the midpoints. Sorry. Okay. Now, this is what I was mentioning about position to market. For example, if David salary is 140,000, okay, and market midpoint is 160,000. So that means what? His position to market is still 88%. Simple, no? 140 divided by 160, percentage of that. Got it? Can you do the rest of that, guys? 200, 345, and 460. Though the answers are written already. Position to market. I mean, it's a direct correlation between employees' current salary vis-a-vis the market, which is called position to market. Would you like to do that? It will take just a minute or two. Everybody's, are you doing it?
Yeah.
No
Yes.
thumbs up, nothing. Huh?
Yeah, yeah, we are.
Yes. Great.
Take it.
Done?
Yeah.
Everybody done?
Yeah.
Okay. Any variance, or you got exactly what is written there?
Yeah, that's the same.
Almost.
Okay, great. Everybody is near. Okay. 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 Now we have, I want to take a minute to help you with this. Okay. So, but typically when you look at a grade structure, so if you see, when you have done the point plan, okay, now how do you actually then create, let me just go to that, how do you create grades from the points? Let me stop sharing. Yeah. Okay. If you recall, we did this. Now you only predicted salary, pay line salary, but how will you actually create grades once you have actually calculated your pay line salary? Any ideas? Anybody? Some of you have already done some work in this salary survey, compensation. Yeah. So now that you have listed out all your positions, you have calculated total point value for your positions, then you have also predicted salary. Typically, then how will you create grades? Because only from grades, then you will actually, after classifying them into grades, then you will give benefits, etc., based on the grades. So how will you do that?
All roles which are having the similar points can be clustered into one group, one grade.
You are very, very closer. Anybody else who wants to give their viewpoint? Nikhil, Bhupesh, Narendra, Adhir. It's good to have some participation. Eh? Nikhil?
Yes, ma'am.
What is my question?
I'm sorry.
You know, sometimes I like to call up. Otherwise, you know, don't know whether the person is there or not.
So Nirmala, like we did the maximum and mean, the minimum and maximum for, depending on the point value and the pay line. That will help us to go to particular grades depending on, how what the organization
You are also very closer.
Five grade or 6 grade. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens typically is one option. If my cursor is here, so if I have a salary here, one is I'm trying to create. You can't have absolute, right? You have to create a range. I can create a range by adding plus minus 10% for low positions, plus minus maybe 20 to 25 for middle positions, and plus minus 30 to 35 for higher positions. That is, I'm creating a range around these positions if my positions are very few. Got it? So what am I doing? This 26,654 is the salary which I have got through regression, which is actually a 50th percentile or a midpoint. Now, I just can't have a midpoint because you will have people with some experience, not experience. So you have to create a range. You have to create a min and a max. So you will create a min and a max by doing plus minus 10, 15% for low positions and 20 to 25 for middle and higher for now. That is one way. The other way is if you have say 500 positions and your starting points could be starting from say 120, say here it is like 220 and your highest may go up to 800. Then what will you do? You will take a cutoff. You will say for every 50 positions, I'll have a grade. And you will look at what are the positions which are falling into that cutoff. Are they similar nature? Somebody said that, right? Are of a similar nature? And especially at a cutoff, is it of a supervisory nature or they are falling into the similar category? So that's how what you do at 50 points. So I'll just put up. Okay. So you can have a grade first at 50 points because typically at a low level, you know, you have fewer points. As you keep growing, so the number of years for a person takes longer. So 50, and then you can increase it by 100. Then you can have again a difference of 100 points. Then you can have 150. Then you can have 200 or maybe just 100. So what are you doing? You are now, how will you create a range? So at 50 points. So say for example, 26,654 is my starting position. And after 50 points, then there is a position, say about 245. So 37,000. This will become my min and this will become my max. Then again at the next position, at the next point, my new grade will start. Hey guys, very mum, tell me, just give me a thumbs up whether you are in sync with what I'm saying or not. I will give you some work now to do then so that you will be able to do it. Hey, are you all guys there or switched off and gone somewhere?
Ma'am, I have a question on this one.
Yeah.
How do we see for the outliers? I mean, there would be outliers as well. Now, so should we give them promotion or demotion in that regards as well?
No. So when you are doing a scatter graph, clearly there are certain job points who will show whether they are outlier at a low level or outlier at a high level, right? Outliers you can have at both low level and also high level, right? So typically what happens if there is a job which is a high level and outlier, you will let that position retire. Okay. Hey, Nikhil, was that Nikhil who asked me that question about outliers and, huh? Am I audible? Am I not audible?
Yeah, you're
Nirmala, Ratna.
Yeah, tell me.
So maybe there could be another chance, like, you know, in a particular grade, if we found that the salary is a positive outlier, which is higher than the maximum salary, can it be moved to next grade promotion?
No. So you need to know, maybe that person is not fit for promotion. Okay. Now, but he's been putting in many years of experience, service, and by the sheer virtue of, you were not even looking at the maximum of range, and he's been getting some kind of an increment. So he has become an outlier, right? That's how outliers become sometimes. Okay. Now, there's 1 or 2 more years for him to retire. So you will say, okay, fine, let that, but you're not going to spoil your grade structure. You will use it as an exception and let that person retire.
Okay.
You are not going to give him a promotion, or at this point of time, you are not going to tell him, hey, you have to quit the organization or whatever be it. Got it?
But this is actually for a person who is working in the organization since several years. But
yeah, it will happen. Like in manufacturing organization, there's a supervisor who's been there for several years, and he's been, he's actually an outlier. Now you suddenly wanting to do a compensation, redesigning stuff like that, then you are suddenly, because of that data, he has become an outlier. Now you will not change your structure because of that outlier, right?
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
Ma'am, so exactly on that, I have got two different questions. One is what we used to do in PwC and KPMG was, if somebody was not getting promoted within 5 years,
right,
up to assistant manager level, and that person has breached the maximum limit, we would stop giving increment to that person. Yes, bonus would be given to that person, but not the increment. And that person would be given another year to increase his skill set, because those skill sets are based on various certifications that they have to do on a regular basis.
Yeah, I just mentioned that, saying that to deal with that, you either take a route saying that, okay, fine, he can do some certifications, because then we will route him to another place, because the longer he will stay there,
it becomes a cost.
He become demotivated, and also the rest of the team will get demotivated.
Yes, and the cost factor was the major one, because we would be billing at X amount and we wouldn't be getting the proper margin basis that. And so we would forcefully ask that person to leave in the 6th year.
Yeah,
if that person
so there is something called stay-in period.
Yeah.
Because that actually works out with your ROI and your wage cost. So you don't want to increase your wage cost for that vertical, for that function.
Yes,
and especially in consulting, I mean, every rupee counts.
Yes, ma'am. And on the second question, and specifically in the IT industry over the last few years, our maximum for each and every band or each and every level have changed, because there was such a market shortfall of the talent, and we had to continue supporting the clients, and around 20% 30% iteration, we were hiring people at a very high cost, right, for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And what has happened is our outliers kept on getting increased.
Yes.
Right. So what is the right approach to that? Because every single month we are taking exceptions and we are increasing. So the whole market dynamic is also changing for us.
I don't know now, but in the last 2 years, it has happened that every CHRO has been fighting the struggle, saying that we just don't know what to do, because they've been coming by 2-3 offers, and we are left with no option but to increase the salary of our internal people also, because they say that, hey, we are getting salary outside. So sometimes that's an exception, but so to speak, so they were trying. I'll tell you what they have also done. So
profitability we would not be able to manage.
I won't tell you the company's name. So the CHRO was firefighting, saying, what do I do? The salaries have gone, to the touching the roof. Everybody demanding 2 to 3 times the salary, just because there is a choice or an option to get more salary. Now what? So what will you do at that point of time? Because you have to service a client, you will still make some compromise by giving him some amount, okay? And you definitely have to do some kind of a planning, right? So what most of the organizations have done, they have actually gone off to tier 3, etc., and they have taken the advantage of the digitized mode. You can work virtually. So now for them, Pan India is, you can look for talent anywhere in India, sitting anywhere, you please work. Because a lot of people, location specific, took this kind of to their advantage and started. Sometimes it happens, right? Even the candidates can also start taking the advantage of the scenarios, the market dynamics which were happening. And especially for IT, it was happening very badly. Yeah, sometimes. So at that point of time, I can't still say, hey, I've done job evaluation. You see, you will be paid only this much. I'm so sorry. Then what will happen to business, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to take some kind of,
No, but in that regards, when we are actually selecting their designations, for example, in this scenario, after the things normalize, right? We would still have 20% of the population who, as per our past data, would be outliers. So, for example, if we were hiring somebody at 10 lakhs, between 6 to 10 lakh rupees, with 3 to 4 years of experience in IT, now we're hiring close to 20 lakhs. Now, the older population, which has stayed with us due to whatever reasons, in the last 2 years, they would be maximum reaching around 14, 15, because we wouldn't, obviously budget wise, we won't be able to give it that thing. But around 10 to 15% population would be closer to 20 lakhs, which would be breaching the next 2 level salary as well. Right. So how should we do that? Should we map their designations, reevaluate their designations? Because then it would be unfair on the rest of the people who are actually
so
performing.
Normally organizations, when it comes to this kind of a scenario, like, let me tell you, most of the big organizations, they always do a lot of resource planning and also talent pipeline building. So therefore, depending on your requirement, your projections in terms of what are the kind of projects which are coming in the next 3 months or 6 months, you are always trying to upgrade the skills or the technology of people who are on the bench, and ensuring that you definitely have some amount of supply. It is only the mom and pop shops or the organizations which are very, very lean. That is why when we said we are going lean, sometimes in such a situations, the lean companies actually get fired.
Ma'am, I understand, but I come from Tech Mahindra, and there it was the biggest challenge, even though we had a good, decent pipeline of people.
You talked about Tech Mahindra, and I didn't want to relate it. This is where it is, because the head of the CHR is a very good friend of mine. So he told me the situation and he told me, what do I do? So we definitely worked out some solutions. So I didn't want to reveal that name. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. He's a fantabulous person. Man.
Every day he would call up and say, hey, this is what is happening. Then what do I do? Okay. Yeah. So there are certain situations, I know, then everything goes out of the window, because business matters first and the client comes first. You don't know, but definitely then these are all short-term solutions. They're not long-term. You can't sustain. Huh?
Yeah, so exactly what my problem right now is, now since the markets are standardized, those people are at a instead of having just 5 or 10% at people at you could say the outliers, there is around 15-20% of the people at outliers, and adjusting them now within the organization is bigger challenge.
Yeah, so maybe you bring data, we'll work it out. We will definitely come out with solutions. Okay.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
So guys, quickly, this is a very interesting. You have just 10 minutes more to do this. I want you all to just click it. If you have it, great. But don't look at the solution. So what you need to do is, this is your data, and these are your total point values, and this is your market salary. All right. And I want you to design a pay structure quickly with 15% lead. You can form 2 groups.
Yeah, so I mean, it depends. I mean, at the lower levels, generally the distance is narrow, around 25% to 35%, right? Specifically from the entry level, and it goes up to widens up to 60 to 70% at the director level. So gradually you should increase the difference. And
Bhupesh, I didn't hear you. I was, I think, on mute. Yeah, tell me.
No. I was just talking to Nikhil on. So I think we have created this. I think team want to show to you and get the.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I think if you could just guide us if it's correct.
Yeah, you've done the slope and intercept, and you have calculated the salary. Excellent. And then 15% lead. So what did you do about it? If you want to lead by 15%.
Ma'am, what we've done is a plus and minus of 15%.
No, that is you have created a range. But I said you want to lead by 15%. Then that means you're pushing your midpoint the pay line salary which you got is your midpoint. So you're pushing your midpoint by 15%. Then you will create a plus minus if you are creating a grade. Got it?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, and if you have also noticed, when you do point plan, the most interesting thing is you can actually find out the distance between one position and the other. Like, for example, that's how you do the restructuring, etc. Say, for example, there is a position called 500 and there is a position for 470. That means, 500 and 470, the distance is only 30 points,
30
right?
points.
Huh? So
30 points.
30 points. So typically what happens is when you are really doing a restructuring, then there's a lot of overlap. That means, in that typical, so you do function wise point values. So you are looking at a sales function, an HR function. So when the distance between the positions, point value is much less, then you are re-looking at the job description and seeing, hey, is there a huge overlap? Say, for example, a senior manager HR has 400 points and the HR manager has about 370. What does it speak of? Saying that there's an overlap, right? So probably you can actually cut down one position there and then say, okay, assistant manager, can you actually see? So that's how restructuring happens. So point value helps also in looking at the distance between the positions. So that was interesting. I think.
Not only interesting, it was confusing also with challenging. Yeah.
So most of you were able to comprehend and link up both internal equity and also external equity and design pay structures, right? And then you learned about how to use Compa-ratios, market penetrations, etc. Now that once you are back into organizations, you can look at closely your own compensation structures and then see how they compare with the market and also how they compare internally. Okay, guys. So with that, I think that was a great learning. So with that, we can close the session. But if you